Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Hi, if you're new here, I'm Aisha and welcome to my YouTube channel. And if you're a returning subscriber, hi again. So guys, it's I hope everybody had a good Ramadan because I really enjoyed my one, even though it went by very fast. I hope everyone took advantage of the beneficial month. And yeah, this past week, like usually after Ramadan, there's sort of like this haze that I'm in always, and I think everybody kind of experiences that. This past week, I think this is 2 weeks after Eid, a week after Eid, and it's been a bit rough because you don't like sleeping schedule first of all, and eating, after fasting the 6 days of Shawwal. If you fasted those days, it's kind of like difficult to get into your old routine and habits and all of that. But anyways, I hope everyone enjoyed Ramadan. I'm quite excited to give a review on this book. That I've been wanting to give a review on this book for quite some time, but I've been holding it back because the explanation for the reason why I want to get into this book is because there are some elements that stood out to me, especially one specific character that I don't like. Guys, if there's one book character in this lifetime that I want to fight, it's the one in this book. Okay, so let's get into it. The book is called, it was recommended to me on TikTok. Okay, now my favorite book is 1,000 Splendid Suns by Khalid Hosseini. I'm sure you guys have heard of it. If you haven't read it and if you haven't heard of it, you need to check it out because it's a very sad story. Now, this book is called A Woman Is No Man by Etaf Rum, and it was recommended to me on TikTok. I was kind of looking for books that were along the same genre of 1,000 Splendid Suns, and this book was recommended to me. So, and it was very easy to get into. It's not a big book. Overall, out of 5 stars, I would give it, no, I'm going to give my stars later on in the video, not now. I want to get into the explanation first. Okay, so the story is set in Palestine in the early 2000s. I'm guessing 2005, 2001, because the vibe was sort of, I think that's when the conflict, the Israeli-Palestine conflict was just beginning. Even though, guys, I do support Palestine and all of that, I'm a Muslim and all of that, and all of that, I'm not very informed on the whole conflict. Whenever like these when something happens and whatever stuff like that, I always read the articles, I watch the videos and stuff, but I have not done any extensive research on how it started and all of that. So maybe I'm wrong, maybe that's not when it started, but that's when, from what the author was telling us in the story, that's when the occupation was still new, So the main character, her name is Isra, and she's introduced us at the beginning of the story. She lives with her parents, her mother, her father. The family dynamics, it's sort of, I can't find the word for it right now, but the father is a very controlling father, and the mother doesn't make things any easier for her daughters. We're not giving a lot of information on her siblings or her brothers, but we are told that Isra has brothers, and she explains to us in the beginning of the story that the mother is abused by the father. Okay, the father is sort of like the controlling type. Oh, if you don't do what I want you to do and stuff like that, the mother wala qara'aya, and then ilmaha walidila and stuff like that. And the mother doesn't make things any easier for the daughter. Like she actually makes it very clear that, okay, you're a woman, your purpose in this life, I shouldn't be slipping into Somalia. Anyways, yeah, whatever. The mother does not waste any time in letting Isra, her daughter, know that you are a woman in this world, okay? Either give birth, cook food, be obedient to your husband, die. No one actually cares about you. It's actually emphasized a lot of times in the story that Isra receives messages from her mother and everywhere around her that you are a woman, your worth is to cook, to clean, and to just stay obedient, how to get married and stuff. I wasn't really too surprised at this because that's the kind of vibe I was going for, this kind of story and stuff. And one thing that set Isra apart, one thing that I liked about Isra is that she was a reader. Yeah? We're told earlier on in the story that she loves reading, especially the book Arabian Nights, 1,000 Arabian Nights, stuff like that. And that she daydreams a lot. She looks out of her window in her house and she daydreams a lot. She dreams of going to another country, living a life where she can get an education and all of that. She's, for the most part, for that part in the story, it's emphasized that she's a dreamer and that she wants more from life than her parents are always telling her. Now, there comes a day where Isra's mother informs her that, oh, you've gotten a proposal from this boy's family. It's a good family. They are from America. You are to get ready. We're going to give tea to them. And Isra, like, sort of like has a bit of a tantrum. She doesn't have a big tantrum, obviously, because, you know, al-qara'a. She's just like, and her mother is like, you need to serve tea to them and everything. So the family comes over. They're from America and they were looking for a wife, and then they found this family, or maybe they had a connection, I'm not too sure. Now they come over to the house and then they see Isra, like, you know, they agree, oh, like, you know, we're fiancé and everything. The wedding date is set and all of that, and then they get married. Isra doesn't really have much of a choice in it and whatever. She sees the guy one time when he's at the house, when they're drinking tea and stuff, and she doesn't even, you know, she goes to the kitchen. Her mother tells her, these are your duties as a wife. You need to obey your husband. You're going to go to America and stuff. And there's a point, guys. There's a point where Isra speaks to her mother and she's like, oh, maybe when I go to America, my life will be better. Maybe, like, you know, things won't be as bad. And her mother looks her dead in the eye and says, your life is going to suck. You're a woman. You are destined for suffering. Guys, and it's actually made even sadder because this girl Isra doesn't have any friends. She doesn't have any relations with anyone outside of her family. And the moment she turns to her mother for any sign of warmth, like this woman, she turns to her mother for warmth and she's like, hey, maybe it's not going to be so bad for me when I go to America. Her mother's like, dead ass. It's like, you're going to suffer. You're probably going to live a life more miserable than mine. At least I wouldn't kick juga. That's when I knew. I was like, this mother. But then again, I couldn't really be mad at her because Ayada Hatta, she's a victim of that same system that she's selling her daughter into. Not that she had much choice. I mean, it's the father that brought this man. But I was thinking, I was like, damn, couldn't you be a bit nicer to your daughter? Like, you know, and just say, oh, it's gonna be fine and stuff. But people come out of trauma differently. Some people, when they come out of their problems and their traumas, they have this mindset of, oh, I suffered and I don't want to treat anyone badly. And other people have this mindset of I suffered, so why shouldn't you? And I think that's the vibe Isra's mother was going for. And someone else. Let's get on with the review. Now, Isra, the story goes on, and for some reason, guys, they didn't move in with each other after the wedding. There had to be some paperwork done so that they get married, like legally, so that Isra can move to the States with this family. Now, we are introduced to Isra's mother-in-law. Oh yeah, by the way, the guy's name is Adam. That's a nice name. I like the name Adam. Now, we're introduced to Adam and his mother Fareeda, who's the mother-in-law, and she's like a very enthusiastic, like big loud lady, and she's very nice to Isra. She's like, oh, you're my daughter-in-law, you know. And Adam is her firstborn, you know, so she's very excited. Now we are introduced to Adam when Isra and him go out to get their paperwork done, and they're left alone for like a few minutes, like in the outside. And this guy greets her, and then he's like, hey, like, you know, set and everything, like conversation starts. But obviously conversation doesn't go that smoothly because this woman has never spoken to men outside of her family her whole life, so it's obviously going to be a bit awkward. Now this guy like asks her a few questions. She doesn't ask much, and then she notices that he's looking at like the places like with longing, or like maybe a look of remembering and stuff. And she asks, did I mention that Isra is 17 and this guy is like 27 or 30? Yeah, if I didn't mention it now, you know. So she knows that Adam left Palestine when he was a kid, and she asks him, do you remember much of Palestine? And he's like, I actually miss this place a lot. And she asks him, would you like to move back here? And he's like, when I was here, he said that when I was a young boy, I memorized the whole Quran. And she's very impressed. She's like, oh, mashallah, you memorized the Quran? And he's like, yes. And I even wanted to be an imam at masjidka, at the masjid, the mosque. And she's like, that's when she sort of, you know, like now that they have like a shared story, she sort of like feels a bit of warmth towards him, because she knows like and she even feels a bit sorry for him, because that dream obviously didn't come true. He works in America now for his family, he's the firstborn son. She sort of feels a bit of sympathy, and that's where the warmth came from, you know. She's like, oh my goodness, this guy had a dream, and because of necessity, because of the war, as a young boy he had to leave the country and he went to America. That's justified, you know. And she thinks to herself, things are not going to be so bad, you know, like things are not going to be so bad, you know. He seems like a nice enough guy and stuff. And I kind of also liked Adam. I was like, damn, this guy's like, you know, he's nice, he like, you know, he seems amiable, you know, because in a lot of these other stories the guy is awful to the girl, and like, you know, her fate is just resigned. So Isra, as we know her now, like has a bit of hope in her heart, despite all of the circumstances that are pitted against her. She has like a bit of hope. And I felt so happy, guys, even though we hadn't even reached 150 pages in the book. I don't know why I started to feel happy for her. I was like, things are not going to be so bad when she gets to America. Now, after all the arrangements are made, Isra finally moves to America with the family. Now, Isra is a reader. I've mentioned this before. So she has like a lot of ideas of how, like, you know, this place is gonna be, like, you know, America. She's scared, she's excited, but for the most part she's excited, you know, and stuff like that. So she like, they go to America, and this family lives in New York, Manhattan. Was it Brooklyn or Manhattan? Was it Brooklyn? Guys, I was supposed to speak soft this whole time. Guys, I don't know if it was Brooklyn or Manhattan. Let's just say it's Manhattan. Yeah, ne? We're just gonna say it's Manhattan. So they moved to Manhattan, and so the family lives in this flat area where a lot of foreigners live. Like, you see Mexicans, you see what other foreigners are there? You see Arab people, you see Indian people, you see all, like, every single, that is the part of the city where all the foreigners, all the immigrant people live, you know. And so Isra's family lives in a flat where it's a few rooms where the sons live in. The mother, Fareeda, and her husband Khalid. Fareeda and her husband Khalid live in one room, the boys live in another room. And so Isra and her husband Adam are given like a room, like for privacy, like the basement, sort of. And Isra like goes into the basement and stuff like that. She goes into the basement and she sees the room. She's kind of like, oh, okay, this is not so bad and stuff. But like, the basement doesn't really have a window, and this girl's a daydreamer, so she's like, oh, okay, you know. Now the days go on and stuff, and like, you know, she's just living life with the family and stuff. And she, as expected, the mother-in-law starts hinting that, oh, you guys need to, like, you guys are married, you guys need to get pregnant and stuff. The guy Adam doesn't really like he doesn't really pressure Isra that much. He's like a chill dude. Like, they go out one afternoon and he shows her around. He's like, oh, this is Manhattan and stuff, like, in this, and she kind of likes it, you know. She starts to like the guy and get used to him. Wesley digging him, they live together. The days go by. Eventually Isra falls pregnant, and everyone is so happy. Everyone's like, oh my goodness. And Fareeda, the mother-in-law, you guys need to remember Fareeda, okay? I don't know what you do, I don't know what you're going to remember. Whatever you take from this, you need to remember Fareeda. Now, Fareeda is very excited about the prospect of possibly having a grandchild in the house, preferably a boy. Yeah? A boy. She wants a boy, and nobody keeps quiet about the fact that they want a boy. The father-in-law Khalid is like really just like, you know, a quiet spectator. He doesn't talk much. He just greets Isra, and he's like an older version of Adam. He just greets Isra and he smiles and he eats his food, and he just, the mother Fareeda she's like the voice of the house. Now it's 9 months, Alagar and everything. They have a party for Isra and everything. She goes into labor, and unfortunately she doesn't give birth to a boy. She gives birth to a girl. Yeah. Nobody except, everyone is fine with it except for Fareeda, and she begins to treat Isra badly, you know. Like, this woman, like, you can actually like tell the contempt she starts having for her daughter-in-law. By the way, guys, this ilan was done by myself. I did this ilan. I know what you guys are thinking. Don't worry, you'll be an amazing ilan artist like me one day. awful. So guys, which part was I by? So Fareeda starts treating this girl badly. Not that she was treating her any good before, like, you know, but now she starts treating her even worse. Okay, she starts treating her even worse, and she's like, oh, like, you know, you brought a curse upon the family. Guys, she actually starts telling people that Isra is a witch. Isra is a witch, and Isra is like, guys, I don't know how to explain this to you. Like, she actually would actively wake up every single morning and make this girl's life a bit worse than yesterday. Like, if her life was bad today, she would brainstorm ideas on how to make this girl's life worse tomorrow, and things would just get from bad to worse for Isra. Eventually she falls pregnant again, and she gives birth to another girl. What another disappointment. You know, she should be disappointed in her son, because, like, doesn't this come from the guy? You know, this is why education is important. Anyways, so things go on, and with along with the criticism from outside people, the stress of that Fareeda is giving Isra and all of that, Isra started to notice that Adam would stay out more. He wouldn't really come back home and stuff like that. And every single time when he would come back home, he would be drunk. You know, he would be drunk. At first, she didn't really notice, like, you know, whatever. She's like, oh, he's tired and stuff. Asking him, oh, why are you coming late? Why are you upset? Is there something wrong with it? And he, like, just like in a burst of anger, punches her. I don't know, guys, I don't remember if he punched her, if he slapped her, but he hit her. And he hit her so, and she was kind of shocked, you know. She was kind of shocked and stuff, and she woke up the next morning and they didn't even speak. Now, this is where the cycle starts, okay? Adam would come home. He would come home drunk. He would see Isra at home. Something about her would piss him off. It would be like a plate of food or something, and he would just beat her. And everyone in the family would just be fine with it. Everyone in the family would just be fine with it, you know? And she would just be getting abused and abused and abused. It didn't help matters that she got pregnant like 2 times after that, and she gave birth to like 2 other daughters. So rather like 4 girls. I don't remember all the daughters' names, you know? Guys, in the book now, when you're reading the book now, there's also like another timeline. There's another timeline in the book. Like, there's Isra's timeline, and there's a timeline of her daughter, and her daughter's name is Daya. But I don't want to get into Daya's part because it's not that important. It's not that important. I just want to talk about Isra's part, because Isra is the one that, Isra's story is the one that hurt me. And there's also a Fareeda's timeline. Okay, we're going to get into that. So guys, like, this guy just beats her, he abuses her and stuff, né? And eventually, as a reader, like, we what you call it, it, like, the writer doesn't say it outright, but it's explained to us in ways that she's falling into a kind of a depression, you know, because you're helpless. What do you do? She wakes up in the morning, her mother-in-law is like shouting her ears off and everything. Her husband beats her. Her children, nobody even helps her with the children. She has to take care of the kids that no one wants around, the kids that the family, like, they're like, you know, they're not gonna carry the name and everything. And she has to deal with an abusive husband. She's alone in this world. So, and then she doesn't even read anymore. Yeah? Until there comes a point in the story. Yeah? Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that Fareeda had a daughter. Yeah? A daughter who's a few years younger than Isra. So if Isra was 17 when she got married, then the younger daughter that that Fareeda had was like 14. So there's like a 2-year difference, you know. And the Fareeda's younger daughter reaches an age where she starts to relate to Isra, you know, because even though the daughter-in-law is being mistreated, Fareeda also kind of has the same attitude towards her own daughter. She has the same attitude towards her own daughter, and she's always mistreating the both of them. And then eventually they bond over the hatred they share for the mother and mother-in-law. And one day the daughter, I don't remember her name, but she asks Isra, she's like, hey, like, you used to read, what happened? Why don't you read anymore? Isra's like, if I read, then I'm going to dream, and what's the use of dreaming when this is like all I'm destined for? And the girl is like, no, I'm gonna like bring you back. And she would bring her back books from school and stuff. And then it seems to us as if like Isra is getting better because she starts reading again and stuff. But But guys, like this girl, like, you know, when you're living in a life where like you're being attacked from all directions, né? And one thing that made me very sad in the story, né, is that at every turn, every angle, from every single person in her life, Isra was always told that she had no worth. Wallahi, that's the saddest thing in the story. Like, if that's actually the saddest thing in the story. Do you know there are people now that you would tell them, oh, you don't have a worth. There are people that you tell them, oh, like, you're never gonna amount to anything, you're just like the scum of the earth. But they don't believe it. They believe that, oh, I deserve better. Guys, Isra actually believed that she was worth nothing, and that was the saddest thing in the story, because even if she did try to improve her life situation, there was no way for her to improve anything. There was a time where she tried to run away. She tried to run away because Adam almost beat her to death. Adam almost beat her to death, and she ran away, and the father-in-law kind of finally had enough. He was like, no, you can't beat your wife. You need to stop this drinking and stuff. Adam brought her back and beat her again. He was like, oh, you're going out to be like a whore and stuff. The poor girl, she just wanted to run away, to just get away from like the beating she's getting every single day. Anyways, guys, we're moving on to Fareeda's POV. Okay, we're given Fareeda's backstory because obviously we want to know why she's so awful to this girl, and we're given Fareeda's point of view, and she kind of speaks about how she grew up in Palestine, because these are Palestinians. She grew up in Palestine when her and Khalid got married, and Adam was her firstborn, and then she lost a kid. Yeah? So we're told in Fareeda's POV that Khalid actually also had an alcohol problem like his son Adam, shocker, and he used to abuse Fareeda until Fareeda got to a point where she started to abuse Khalid back. I was like, oh, okay. I was like, so Adam is just like his father. The only difference is that Isra is not traumatizing him back. And Fareeda like speaks about how she literally took all of Khalid's money and like saved the money, each penny, and then she got them to America, and then she fixed everyone's lives. And that just because she suffered, Isra also has to suffer. Like, she literally looks at Isra with hatred and contempt because, oh, you know what? Whatever you're going through, Adam's beating you, Adam's alcoholic. Guess what? I had a child that died. My husband was an alcoholic, but I was living in a tent in Palestine. At least you're living in Manhattan, in a house with your mother-in-law. At least you have food. I couldn't even feel sorry for her. I think maybe Fareeda's backstory was given to us for us to feel sorry for her, to feel some sort of sympathy that, oh my goodness, she also had a bad beginning. But no, just because your life sucks doesn't mean my life has to. What is wrong with you? Anyways, like, the story goes on, and then we're also kind of given guys, I actually feel a bit sorry for Adam. Like, I hate him for abusing Isra, but then again, like, there's a point in the story where he tells his mother that he doesn't want to work so much anymore because Fareeda wanted him to pay for all of her sons' education. She has like 3 other sons, yeah? She wanted him to pay for their educations and to open like a shop for them and stuff, and he was like really stressed and stuff. But still, that's not an excuse for him to take out all his stress on Isra. So guys, this story, yeah, everyone had trauma in their backgrounds. Everyone had like a sad life story there, and they would take it out on Isra, someone who did nothing to any of them. And then there would be a part in the story where Fareeda would look at Isra with contempt and be like, why are you so miserable? Why are you so this and that? Composure. Anyways, guys, if I carry on with this, it's gonna like go on to 30 minutes, and I don't want my thing to go to 30 minutes. But yeah, I'm not gonna speak on the other POVs because it's just too long and there's too much to unpack. But if I was going to give this story a rating, I would give it 4 out of 5. I'll give it 4 out of 5 because, guys, I love the character development. I love each character's background stories. I love the setting, and it's all so realistic because I can actually imagine people, not imagine, it's happening to people every single day. Like Adam's story, like that's happening to so many people. Fareeda, Isra, especially Isra, so many people. One thing that I did not like is Daya's POV. Isra's daughter had a POV in the story. I didn't really like that so much. I felt as if it was a bit like, even though it did help with understanding a bit of Isra's like life and stuff, and how her children saw her. I just feel as if I didn't like Daya's part so much. I was looking forward more to Fareeda and Isra's POVs like in the story. And the fact that I hate Fareeda with a passion, guys, I don't think I expressed properly how much I hate Fareeda in this video, né? But the fact that I hate a character so much just proves that the writing was that good. Because if you can, guys, if someone can invoke that much emotion out of you as a reader, just know that the writing and the character development and, like, you know, how they portrayed this person was really good in the book. So yeah, I'm gonna give it like a 4 out of 5 stars. And if you read the book, if you're planning to read it, and if you have any thoughts on this, make sure to leave your comments down below. I like hearing from you guys, even, you know. Yeah, guys, until next time, like, comment, and subscribe. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.